questions. Who, what, where, why, how much of a discount? My Italian family, we don't know nothing, we didn't see nothing, you don't ask. But the wildest thing.
What happens when you grow up in a house where your mom's Italian, your dad is Jewish? Well, you may have a lot of stories to tell. You probably do. Writer Steve Solomon has created a hilarious one-man show entitled My Mother's Italian, My Father's Jewish, and I'm in Therapy, based on his own life growing up in a neighborhood in Brooklyn.
And with us today is actor and comedian Peter Fogel, who will be performing this hilarious one-man show tonight at the Broadway Theater in Milwaukee's 3rd Ward. It starts tonight and then runs through October 28th. This sounds like quite a hassle to keep your hand on all the different characters, because it's just you up there.
Yeah, it's over 25 characters, wow. But it's one thing to do a character, but I'm doing voices. So, like the mother, in My Mother's Italian, My Father's Jewish, and I'm in Therapy, might as well do the mother. The mother will say to the father, Louis, you're so damn it cheap. I'm not cheap, I'm thrifty. I was born with nothing, I still got most of it. And my family is always telling me funny stories about my father and his relationship with money. Once my parents were attending a wedding at a very exclusive restaurant. A waiter poured 40-year-old scotch into a glass. A fly lands inside the glass. My father reaches in, grabs by the wings and yells, spit it out, spit it out. So it's a narrative. I'm telling a story. I'm taking people on a journey. He's waiting, Steve Solomon, this is all based in his life, I play Steve, for the therapist to come. The therapist is late, as usual. So he talks to the audience and he vents to them, and basically he's using an audience as his therapist. Yeah. So I'm taking him, and they really hear his life story. He grew up in this multicultural, the clash of the cultures, with the Jewish grandmother, the Italian grandmother, the Italian grandfather. They're all living under this roof, and then he talks about his ex-wife and his kids. So you're seeing his story. That's basically
what about this is so relatable? I mean, you describe, it seems like decades ago when we had this neighborhood that everyone kind of knew each other and it was this blended, and now things are so separate. What about this performance resonates with people?
It's because it's your family.
Yeah.
And people relate to family. We've had Indians come, African Americans, and the show has been, it was off Broadway and it's been touring for 17 years. Wow. It's been done internationally. It's about family. So people come up to me and say, this is like, we talk about one of his therapists is Habib Patel. This is hysterical. I want you to do more jokes about Patel, because they can just relate to it. Because it's a family's family. When you get down to the nitty gritty, everyone has a crazy family. It's like when I get together with my own relatives, they say to me, we're getting together next week. I go, no, I'm done.
I've done it for the year.
We've gone over everything.
Yeah.
People haven't changed. There's nothing new to talk about. No, we're going to get together. I go, okay. Because when you get together with them, after 5 minutes, especially your immediate family, why I left home 30 years.
Some distance.
Exactly.
You get distance. But it's a wonderful story, and people come up and like grab you. This is my family. How did you know? And that's why it's been resonating for all this time.
Can I ask how much work it is to perfect those accents, and then how you kind of keep them all straight
in and out
over the course of
It's
the show?
it's 90 minutes with an intermission in the show. I hydrate a lot. I breathe. I was trained as an actor, of course, being a comedian, and I don't overextend myself. And like a buddy says, hey, you're going to Milwaukee. Why don't you go do some grappling at MAA? I go, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to pull a rotary. No, I have to focus on the show.
Yeah.
We do 7 shows a week. We start tonight.
There we go.
We're at the Broadway Theater Center. My
Yes.
mother's Italian, my father's Jewish, and I'm in Therapy. And you don't have to be Jewish or Italian. You just have to have a crazy family that gets you nuts.
And who doesn't? All right, thank you so much for being here. And Milwaukee gets a sneak peek of some different characters, or some different dialogue, I should say, that you will be unveiling tonight.
Yes, and then of course you'll see people like Uncle Paulie, who looks like Robert De Niro.
It's amazing.
Stevie, I want to talk to you. So that's how he intimidates most of his people. That came out of rehearsal, and Steve says, yes, my Uncle Paulie did have a resemblance to Robert De Niro.
Yes.
So like when I do it on stage, people start, oh my God, it's him.
Yeah.
The
I
transformation.
know, it's just like, it's complete.
Amazing.
It's the voice, it's the gestures, it's
there's
the
the
face.
mother, and then there's between the Italian grandma and the Jewish grandma. So you have to go high, then you have to go low. So when you're doing different voices, you have to deviate it. You can't do it on the same level.
We have a producer's voice in our head. He has 25 voices in his head.
Right.
My mother's Italian, my father is Jewish, and I'm in therapy. It's at the Broadway Theater in Milwaukee's 3rd Ward from tonight running through October 28th. Rob, you have a few voices up there in your head as well, right?
Yeah, they occasionally get out and get loose, but we'll wrangle them back.